Celebrating extraordinary women on The Morning Show. This is Warrior Woman.
Man, and I'm always so excited to introduce to you our next warrior woman. She is a social impact leader and sustainability strategist, passionate about advancing education, equity, and youth empowerment in South Africa. She founded Great Goals and has guided hundreds of young women towards meaningful careers and personal growth whilst building powerful female mentor networks. Through her consulting to the Arto Foundation, she helps strengthen school-based literacy and partnership programs in Cape Town, and also drawing on 2 decades in safety, health and environment and sustainable development across global mining and consulting industries. She combines corporate insight with community impact, building systems, partnerships and opportunities that create lasting change for people and the planet. She is Kristina Miller. Welcome to the show, Kristina.
Oh my gosh, what an intro.
And listen, if people are thinking that name sounds familiar, wait for it. She was also the winner of the Unsung SHERO Award at the 2025 Warrior Woman Awards. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
It's so good to have you back on the show again because whilst everyone heard about everything that you do, this is the first time that we actually get to have a meaty conversation, which I think is wonderful. Now, let's start with before founding Great Goals. You spent nearly 2 decades working in safety, health, environment, and sustainable development in global industries. What first sparked your kind of passion for social impact and youth empowerment? And how did that professional journey eventually lead you to create Great Goals?
Well, I've been really blessed. I come from a family with deep roots in social impact. My grandmother, my dad's mom, and my dad both all worked in communities trying to uplift youth, whether through education or other empowerment programs. And I think it's just in our blood. Having said that, though, I don't think it takes a lot to look around in South Africa and see need everywhere.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I did and I still do work consulting in mining and in philanthropy. But the reality is it doesn't take much to realize that there's a gap everywhere that you could step in and fill.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that Great Goals focuses on bridging the gap between high school and the working world for young women. Can you take us back to the moment that you noticed this gap? And I love that you say it's easy. Look anywhere and you will see it. But for yourself, when did that realization kind of occur for you, and then you realize that an organization like Great Goals is truly needed?
Well, I think most ideas come from a personal experience, and I had a personal experience. I went to quite a privileged high school, and I had a good start, which most of the people in this country do not have. And even with that great sort of head start, I struggled. I struggled to find a job. I didn't know where to look for work. I had no idea, and my parents were in the process of getting divorced, and I think, distracted by other things. And so I did really feel like I didn't quite know how to find my way on my own, and sitting in my first job praying that the phone wouldn't ring because I didn't know how to answer it properly. And once I was fully established in a career path, I remember looking back and thinking to myself, if it was so hard for me and I had a technical head start, how can it be so much harder for everybody else in this world, especially in South Africa, especially as a woman, especially as a person of color? How much harder could it be? And so I just decided something needed to be done. Started talking to my friends at parties or at dinner parties and things, and someone said to me, these are great ideas you've got, you should do something about it. And I'll never forget that conversation, because I often say to that person, it was your fault. You started all of this. And it took one email. I don't know if you want to know the origin story, but it took one email on the 4th of April, 13 years ago. And by 9 o'clock that night, it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I sent it. We had mentors, we had money, we had venues, we had speakers. We were real.
Wow.
Yeah.
One email. They always say, just start.
Yep.
Just start. Now, through workshops, mentorship, and practical skills training, Great Goals equips young women with tools like interview preparation, budgeting, and confidence building. Why is it so important for empowerment programs to focus specifically on equipping young girls with these kinds of life and career skills?
Well, I think the fundamental answer is, did you learn any of these things?
No, I did not. And it would have been really helpful.
Exactly. I mean, we leave school with, I don't want to knock the education system, but like, geometry.
Yeah.
And things that I don't think I've ever used those things in my life.
True
What
story.
I would have really loved to know is how to do my SARS tax return.
That would have been helpful.
How to write a cover letter.
How to budget.
Yeah, how to budget, all these things. I mean, I don't think I even sat down in a budgeting conversation in my household as a child. So you suddenly have your first salary or a paycheck and like, well, okay.
Yeah.
I like those shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And so the reality is these are basic core skills every human being should have.
Yeah.
And we don't get equipped with them at school. And I don't think a lot of us equip our children or were equipped as children in our families with these skills. And so this is where Great Girl steps in, is giving you these core fundamental building blocks for how to build a career and a life going forward.
This is so true. Now, mentorship often goes both ways. While you and your team guide these young women, what are some of the most powerful lessons that have taught you specifically about resilience, ambition, or navigating today's world?
I love that question. When we first began, I remember we were doing interviews, and one of our founding trustees was Nandi Kubeka, and she was asked a similar question in our second year, and she said, I came in thinking I would teach and I would help and I would mentor and I would save this young girl.
Sure.
And she saved me.
Wow.
And she taught me and she showed me how to be a real deep human. And I remember thinking about that. And it's been true through the last 13 years. Our girls are incredibly resilient and wise. I don't think I was that wise at 16, 17, 18 years old. The things our youth have been through and have seen and had to, put up with and be resilient through. And in the age of social media, I mean, you and I got away with, I think, a lot of rubbish in our teens because nothing was on socials, right?
Now it'd be cancelled.
Yeah, now it's like everyone can just look at your viral video.
Yeah.
And I just think that the intensity the youth are experiencing in lived experiences forces them to be wise. And I think a lot of our mentors are often surprised with how deep, insightful, and, kind of they know themselves. And I think that's an amazing thing. As a 40-plus-year-old person, I feel like I know myself now, but it took all of that time. We have young women in our program who know themselves deeply, and it's incredibly inspirational.
Wow, that is powerful. Listen, if you've just joined us, we're chatting to Kristina Miller, founder of Great Girls and winner of the Unsung SHERO Award at the 2025 Warrior Woman Awards. Now, talking about the Unsung SHERO Awards last year, Kristina, you were acknowledged and recognized with that award for your impact that you have made. What did that recognition mean to you personally? And what does it say about the importance of community-driven initiatives like Great Girls?
Well, obviously, I was very proud, a little embarrassed because I'm not generally somebody who enjoys the spotlight. But I think you'll remember when I got up and I said my thank you speech, my first words were, this isn't for me. My face might be up on that screen, but this isn't for me. This is for the hundreds of women who've come through my doors and as volunteers. Not a single person in Great Girls is paid.
Sure.
We all volunteer our time for free, and we have done for over a decade.
Amazing.
And the reality is those women who show up every Monday and every Saturday and meet with their girls and chase up their girls and, organize meetups and shepherd them through the stages of life during and after school, those are the women who are actually making the difference. And so the award is great because it gives us platform, but it's not mine.
That's powerful. That is absolutely powerful. Kristina, I always ask this question for young women listening who may be unsure of their future, or for people who just want to uplift the next generation like you are doing. What words of wisdom or encouragement would you share with them today?
So I'll start with the people who could make an impact. So not necessarily young people starting out, but people always say, you did this big thing and you started this great organization, what can we do? And I always say to people, there is someone in your workplace right now who would benefit from your wisdom and your mentorship and your attention. Just one person. And it's a bit of that starfish concept around, picking up the starfish and throwing it back into the ocean and saving just the one. I wear a starfish around my neck because it's literally just that one person in your life that you can make a difference for right now. It doesn't have to be a big organization doing fundraising and programs. Yeah. But for the young person, I don't ever want to lose the opportunity to say to people, there is always hope somewhere. There is always opportunity somewhere. And never be too proud to ask for help because you'd be surprised where help comes out. Sure. Even the smallest, most absurd, insignificant ways that you can reach out and ask for help, there will always be somebody who will step up into that space. And it might not be in the definite way you need it. So if you want to start a business and you need 50,000 Rand, there are not a lot of people who are just going to hand you 50,000 Rand. But there'll be someone who'll introduce you to somebody else. There's someone who'll give you an office space. There's someone who'll give you, a platform, an email address, a laptop, something. Everybody will contribute towards that dream in a small way. You just have to be brave enough to ask.
Powerful stuff. Oh, Kristina Miller, founder of Great Girls and also the winner of the Unsung SHERO Award at the 2025 Warrior Woman Awards. Kristina, you're an absolute inspiration. Thank you so much for coming through, for telling us more about Great Girls and how it all started and the impact it continues to have today. And that is why you are our Warrior Woman, and so well deserved. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
'Cause I am a champion. Celebrating extraordinary women on The Morning Show. This is Warrior Woman.